So I don't know how much you guys know about Bill Maher. Like, I don't know how long it's been since Bill Maher has been in like the cultural zeitgeist. He used to be so much bigger, I feel like, as a political pundit. Now he's just a fucking grouchy old man who says nonsense and doesn't actually know what like real people in the world are thinking or feeling. And that's pretty obvious when you watch anything with Bill Maher in it. So this is him. I haven't watched this yet. This is him on Pod Save America discussing trans rights. And my only thought here, before I even start the video, my first thoughts are, I bet Bill Maher says some dumb shit. That's my first thought, is I bet Bill Maher says some stupid shit. Let's find out.
I got to my card that says trans. Let's talk about it. The position, like, look, other countries have national health services. The Democratic position is leave it up to parents, doctors. True. Just leave. It's not the government's decision. That's the Democratic position. What's wrong with that position?
Wait, say that again?
The Democratic position, right? Joe Biden. Like,
well, the Democratic position in this state has been that the school has the right to hide it from the parents. That is something that is not going to go well with the average voter. And again, I'm not.
Bill Maher's so fucking stupid, dude. Could you imagine if we had this when it came to like people who were gay, right? Could you imagine if schools could just like unilaterally call up a parent and be like, hey, your kid's gay. I know you might be an abusive parent who's going to take it out on your kid, but like, we're telling you. But it's just it.
I'm not even a parent, and I get it. Okay?
That's dumb. That's so dumb.
I think the governor here used the word snitch. Now, if I'm wrong, I didn't say it.
So
I think I read that.
So there are delicate problems here. But wait, there's delicate problems here, and there's a delicate problem where you have a kid, all right, who is either non-binary or trans, who feels scared.
I'm sorry. Did he just say? Not to have to jump back a bit, but he just say, if I'm wrong, I didn't say it. No, here's the worst part. Dexter. He's not a Republican. Bill Maher's not a Republican. At this point he should be, but he's not. That's the worst part.
At home, feels unsafe at home. Those things do happen in the world. There are things that happen in the world. But for the most part, that's not what we're talking about. For the most part, what we're talking about is a teenager who has felt that they have a gender dysmorphia. So what they feel like is that they feel deeply unhappy, depression, all really rampant.
Yes,
and they go to their parents.
They feel that, and then they blame it on the thing that has been put in their mind way too much. That it may be because of you're in the wrong body, to put it probably wrongly, but sure. That we understand.
Yes, Bill Maher, you're wrong. That's twice he's admitted that he probably doesn't know what he's talking about. And we're a minute and a half in. Yes, you are wrong, Bill Maher. You are wrong. The colloquialism of like being in the wrong body is just something that trans people use so that cisgender people kind of understand what they're going through. But they know what body they're in. That's why they have gender dysphoria.
Understand what that means. Okay. Now, it could be that case. When Trump said there's only two sexes, again, pendulum swinging way too far to stupidity. Okay. Obviously, sex is more complicated than just two sexes. There are people who absolutely, are quote unquote in the wrong body. But when you're a kid, when even a teenager, and you're that confused about everything and you have no idea and you're upset for many other reasons, the idea that they put it, let me just finish.
I'm not saying it.
I know. I could see you are ready. I could see you pulling back the bow. And the fact that they put this in their head too much, that's my thing. Should you tell a kid, look, there's a default setting for humans, male and female, but there are variations. That's absolutely true.
What is he talking about at this point? I feel like he's just gone. so widely off topic. Where where is he going? This is just old man yells at clouds.
True. Some people are attracted to people of their own sex, and some people are actually in the quote-unquote wrong body, and that does happen. But the amount that they emphasize this, I compared it once on my show to entrapment.
So
see, there you go.
Because you're saying stupid shit, Bill Maher. You're saying stupid shit. Again, we have the regret rates. We have the, whoever's editing this video, I'll have them put some of the numbers on screen. But we have the regret rates. They're like 1 to 3% at most. So where's the entrapment, bro? Talk to a trans person and ask them if they thought they were trans when they were young. I have never personally, now I'm not saying they don't exist, but I've never personally met a trans person who didn't know that something was up when they were a kid. They might not have had the words, and that's what I'm talking about. When we have these conversations every day, one of my biggest things is kids. The reason why because Bill Maher is running on this same stupid social contagion argument that like, oh, we're putting it all in their heads. No, it was already there. They didn't have the words, so we're educating them. So instead, they don't feel like shit. They don't think that there's something wrong with them. Instead, we go, oh, what you're going through has a name. Now, whether it's being trans, whether it's just gender incongruence, whether it is you're non-binary, whether you're gender non-conforming, whatever it is, it's just so annoying. This idea that, oh, we're all doing it. It's us. We're putting those thoughts in the kids' heads. That's not what's happening in any way, shape, or form.
I disagree.
Don't get me wrong. Are there probably a couple parents out there who want their kids to be trans because they want attention? Yeah, I mean, stage moms also exist, right? So I get there might be some parents, but the vast, overwhelming, I'm going to guess 99% of kids who are trans and who seek out gender affirming care are not being influenced by some adult in their life who's trying to trans them.
Hey, I'm sorry, is that not the end? Is it?
No,
I thought
but
entrapment had a period at the
end. Could I
end.
explain it?
Yes,
though?
explain. I mean, I think we all get it, but yeah, explain it. Entrapment.
I don't think everybody does get it.
Okay, explain it.
Okay. Well, what is entrapment? Entrapment is when you suggest something to people that they weren't ordinarily going to do. I used the example of after 9/11. The FBI got caught basically entrapping some people, which is what they went to people who were excuse me, I'm not done.
All right, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. Honestly, that was rude. That was rude. That was rude.
One of the things I want everyone to be very conscious of, this idea of like, well, they were never going to do it, doesn't really work when they never had the option, right? In order to make the claim, at least in my opinion, in order to make the claim they're doing something they were never going to do, you would have to give the option of both things and convince them to do option 2. They would have to have both options. So I just don't understand where this whole nonsense is coming from.
Bill, finish.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Bill Maher's a little transphobic. That's where it's coming from.
Explaining how being trans is like being recruited into Al Qaeda.
Well, that's glib and
absolutely 100% glib, stupid and glib.
It is.
Yes,
because it's not true. And
right.
You didn't even let me get through the
You're
thing.
right.
And now I got to go.
You're just gonna leave? We're in the middle of a debate.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'll finish this. Entrapment. Like, okay, so they go to somebody. They go to a group of guys. They did this in a group of poor black guys in Miami, and were unhappy with America. And hey, wouldn't it be great if we blew up the Sears Tower in Chicago? And these guys didn't even have a gun. And it's like, yeah, I hate America, or I got problems with America. That does sound kind of cool. And hey, well, we can get you the explosives. And that's entrapment. Okay, you put an idea in people's heads that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Do I think in most of America they did that in schools? I don't. But I think in enough of them,
I'm just going to let you know, under this idea of entrapment, quite literally all education would be considered entrapment. Like, oh my God. First of all, kids know that there's something up. I went through this already. We already went down this rabbit hole. But how you would, how, I don't even know how to fucking say this. The issue that I have here is like, let's say I have a kid who didn't know it was possible to be an astronaut. And then I taught him all about astronauts, and the kid's like, well, I want to be an astronaut now. Is that entrapment? Bill Maher has no idea what he's saying.
enough far left places, they did constantly have this idea in the minds of children that maybe you're not in the right body. I mean, the New England Journal of Medicine advocated for taking sex off of a birth certificate, I believe. It was like you're assigned sex at
Assigned
birth.
says at birth.
Assigned.
Yeah.
You're assigned.
I think that's right.
I was assigned it by my dick, okay, when I was born. Yes, and again,
Okay. Bill Maher just didn't get an understanding of sex, and now he's crying about it because he's realizing people know more about him on the topic. I don't know how many people I have to say this to. Maybe Bill Maher is one of them. You know, penises are not sex-determining organs. Your penis does not determine your sex. I actually think instead of assigned sex at birth, it should be perceived sex at birth, or maybe something of that variation, because it's not like it's not that we're assigning your sex. It's that we only determine sex by some expression, some phenotypic expression. So we perceive that your sex, based on genitals, we would perceive your sex to be one way or another. Assumed, that's a better word, Leo. Yeah, assumed. So we would assume that your sex is penis. Now, granted, or your sex is penis. We assume that your sex would be male because you have a penis. So typically, right, what this means is that you're most likely male, right? That's the typical. The typical seems to be that when you have a penis, your sex correlates with male. There are instances where this is incorrect, right? I don't think using inclusive language is a bad thing. I think using inclusive language is a pretty good thing, and it leads to positive outcomes. So I think it's okay to say, like, I kind of like perceived sex at birth, maybe. But, like, I think it's okay to say that this is how we do sex. So your sex, like, unless we start karyotyping literally every baby. And even then, I don't think we'll 100, because, like, well, maybe. Unless we start karyotyping every baby, we need to just say, like, hey, at when you're born, we perceive that your sex is male based on these phenotypic attributes. And we're probably going to be right like 95% of the time. But sometimes we're going to be wrong. But none of this has to do with gender identity. Like, that's my...
Tell kids it doesn't always have to be and isn't always the default setting, but that's a different mentality than they put in the minds of kids. And that's why this debate goes on. And the fact that you think, or a lot of people on the left think, that even if you just have this debate, it makes you a bigot, you just have to roll over. That was, you asked about the Biden administration. That was their position.
First of all, what makes you a bigot is saying that trans kids are being entrapped by adults to be trans. That's what makes you a bigot. See, there's a difference between just having the conversation, because I actually think you can have a conversation about how much of this we teach and at what ages and what, like, the criteria. That's all fine. But making a statement like, I think trans kids are being entrapped, no, that's a bigoted statement. right? It's not coming from a place of education. It's not coming from a place of understanding. It's not coming from a place of trying to make it so that trans people experience less of these negative societal outcomes. It's just because you don't like it.
Even question this, you're some sort of a bigot. And this is new science, and it has to do with children, and
It's not that new.
it's not going to look good in the future, that position.
Can I just respond to something?
Now you can.
Now I can respond? All right. Can you
gotta
just All right. Let's just
I
do,
said my
there's a
piece.
lot. You definitely said your piece.
Just say your bullshit while I'm in the bathroom.
Just stay for 1 second.
Okay, I'm kidding.
Unbelievable.
I'm kidding.
All right, no, I know. Okay. A lot of things there. First of all, oof, this is going to sound confrontational. For a long time, people said, older gay people are recruiting kids to be gay. And they wouldn't really be gay. It was they were being recruited, they were being groomed, that they were being drawn. That was the
Spot on,
conservative
John
position, the
Lovett.
Christian right position for a long time was the reason you didn't want to have gay
Spot
teachers
on.
is they're going to recruit. That the gay lifestyle is going to look so enticing and so exciting that it's going to bring these poor defenseless boys, they mostly
Well,
boys,
listen,
into the gay.
Listen, I do think the lifestyle's pretty enticing, but you don't gotta be gay to live that lifestyle. You just got to be like well groomed sometimes. Like, which lifestyles are we talking about here? Like sometimes I'm like watching a show and I'm like, damn, they live in the life. They live in the life. That's a joke, obviously, by the way, chat. Let's see how many people hit me in the YouTube comments and go, Jovan, how dare you call it a lifestyle? All right, my bad. It's an ideology. I'm just kidding.
Lifestyle and destroy their lives. But of course, that wasn't true. Really, all gay teachers were an example.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, there are a few examples of people getting older and realizing that they shouldn't have transitioned. That happens. It's real. That's real.
Yeah, more than a few.
But there are also really
like 1 to
important
3%.
surgeries that people get for their heart, and they go wrong, and somebody dies. And nobody says we must stop the cardiologists. No one says we must stop
Wow.
the surgeons. We say let's.
That's your analogy?
Well, my analogy is only that. Wait, let me finish.
I'm just
Can I finish?
Yes.
It's a relevant. It's a pretty good analogy, honestly.
Is it my turn to talk?
No, you're right.
And what you say is, let's make sure that this version of it is being practiced well. We don't get rid of the specific surgery. We don't throw out a whole field of medicine. We say, let's make sure we're doing it in a way that's healthy. The science, the research, all right, makes clear that, yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are people practicing it in ways that maybe go too far. But for the most part, study after study shows that gender-affirming care saves. Wait, I'm talking. It's my turn. I was
Get
so
him.
quiet for
Get his
so
ass.
long after
Get
I
his
interrupted
ass.
Well,
a
you
few
want
his
times.
ass.
Okay.
But once I stopped talking, boy, I was good at it. And that gender-affirming care saves a lot of lives. And the truth is, we talk about these edge cases, talk about athletes, talk about locker rooms, but for the most part, what we're talking about is a very small group of people that just want the opportunity to live and express themselves. And there is a war on that group of people from the right to make salient extreme cases.
That's my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing. Do y'all ever notice how often the right is like, oh, well, the left uses identity politics. Look at all the trans stuff coming from the left. Bro, we would never talk about it if it wasn't for y'all. Are you joking? We would never talk about it so much that Kamala Harris didn't say shit about it. Harris had like what, one remark on trans people throughout the entirety of the fucking campaign and was like, oh, I'll just follow the law. Like, I don't know, have you realized the left is trying to protect people that are being targeted? It's not, listen, if the right was just up in arms, but there were no laws, no policies, none of this being made around trans people, we wouldn't care. We wouldn't give a fuck. Do you know how I know this to be true? Because you didn't see all of issues like this when they were not completely, but they were for a while there. Like right after gay marriage was passed through, right? Like around that time, you didn't really see many Republicans trying to put in bills against gay people. And if you notice, it just kind of became a lot more accepted from both the right and the left, right? I'm not going to say it's fully accepted on the right because obviously it's not, but they weren't passing policies. So the left didn't talk about it that much. because right, the policies were sort of already there that they were interested in having. Granted, there were some that I really wish could be stronger, such as like family structure, family policies around like gay families and things like that. But for the most part, we weren't talking about it. I guarantee you it'd be the same shit if y'all weren't trying to legislate against trans bodies. You really wouldn't have that much of an issue from trans people. It's the fact that you're trying to legislate the transness out of them. It's fucking stupid.
Edge cases, not for the purposes of stopping those, but for doing what the Trump administration is doing entirely, which is stopping all gender affirming care altogether and making trans people fucking nervous when they have to pee at the airport, right? Which is the end result of all of this.
And of course, that's awful, and I agree with all that.
I'm sorry. And we need to talk about the fact that all of these things are affecting cisgender women. Bro, how many videos have you watched of cis? I just watched a video of a mask black woman getting like harassed at an airport bathroom because she was perceived to be trans. Like it affects cisgender women when they put these policies through.
Except the part about the studies. There was a very big story this year. It was in the front page of the New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
A woman, I forget her name, and she had done, like, it was a 10-year study, did not release it on purpose because she said it would weaponize the argument from the other side. So in other words, it came out not the way you wanted the study to come out.
Yeah.
Not what you said, that it's, all the studies show that. No, it is a mixed bag. That's true.
Okay.
Some people.
Wait, I have heard this now twice, but haven't had a chance to look into the study. Let me see. This is from the National Review. I don't know what the National Review's orientation is, so I'm just reading. In 2015, Joanna Olson Kennedy began leading a study on the effects of puberty-blocking drugs in adolescents. The researchers received nearly $10 million in government funding. As part of the study, followed 95 children with gender dysphoria for 2 years to evaluate changes in mental health. According to a 2020 article by Olson Kennedy and other researchers, significant portions of the children in the cohort experienced serious problems before medical treatment. Elevated depression was endorsed by 28.6%, and nearly a quarter endorsed lifetime suicide ideation, with 7.9 endorsing a past attempt. Just over 1/5 of the cohort scored in the clinical range for total anxiety. 16.8% endorsed clinical range physiological anxiety. 20.1% endorsed clinical range worry. 50.8 endorsed clinical range social anxiety. So the drugs did not lead to mental health improvement. She offered the explanation that the children had been doing well before the study began, stating they're in really good shape when they come in, and they're in really good shape after 2 years. What? I don't have access to the New York Times. Nobody look at what I'm doing. I'm not doing nothing. Shush. Shush, shush, shush. It didn't work anyway. Doesn't tend to work on the New York Times. I'm not finding anything. Also claimed that she plans to publish the data. Teams been delayed due to politically motivated funding cuts. Aside from that lame excuse and immature finger pointing, Kennedy also told the New York Times that the findings might support the legal bans on gender-related medical treatments, one of which is being evaluated by the Supreme Court this term. I do not want our work to be weaponized, she said, adding that it has to be exactly on point, clear, and concise, and that takes time. She did the study when? 2015. The study ran till when? 2020? Are they still studying it? See, this isn't saying what I don't think this is saying what I think it's saying. Like, it's actually annoying the shit out of me. What it actually seems like is that there were children who were doing okay and they still did okay, like she said. But we can't read the study, so. Oh, is this the study? Is this the study? So the study was released. Is this the study? This looks like a study. The published version of this article is available at J. When was it published? 2022. So it was published. Ain't no way, bruh. Ain't no way, bruh. Psychosocial characteristics of transgender youth seeking gender-affirming medical treatment. Let me zoom in for you guys. Baseline findings from the Trans Youth Care Study. The study aimed to characterize 2 developmental cohorts of transgender and non-binary youth enrolled in the Trans Youth Care Network study and describe their... When was this article published? 2024. What? Now I'm lost. Oh, they just published the study, but this... Oh, the story, which was published Wednesday. Quotes the story, this story. Published Wednesday. But the study is published. What? This is so annoying. Trans youth care participants were recruited from 4 pediatric academic medical centers in the U.S. before initiating medical treatment for gender dysphoria, either with gonadotropin-releasing hormone agonists or gender-affirming hormones. So there were 2 types of... There's GnRHA and GHA. 95 youth enrolled in the GnRH cohort. Mean age was 11.2, and the majority were white and designated male at birth. Elevated depression symptoms were endorsed by 20.6%, and 22.1% endorsed clinically significant anxiety. Approximately 1/4 endorsed lifetime suicide allegations, 39% reporting a past suicide attempt. A total of 316 youth were enrolled in the GH cohort. Mean age was 16 years. The majority were white and designated female at birth. Elevated depression symptoms were endorsed by 51.3% of the GA cohort and 57.3% endorsed clinical significant anxiety. 2/3 endorsed lifetime suicide, which was lower among both cohorts compared with population-based norms. But what's the before and after numbers, bro? What are the before and after numbers? Let's look. GnRHA cohort youth appear to be functioning better from a psychosocial standpoint than GH cohort youth, pointing at possible benefits of accessing gender treatment earlier in life. Okay. Okay. Okay, here. Is this table 3? What is table 3? Sorry, I know this must be fucking boring as shit for y'all. I know that. Yeah. No, I agree, Bo Bandy. It sounds like she's acknowledging that these studies can often be taken out of context, and she wants to make sure the context is correct. But let's read. Wait, here we go. Oh my God. The study examined baseline mental health, well-being, and gender-specific experiences among 2 TYC cohorts, youth initiating GnRHA and youth initiating GHA treatment. GnRHA cohort youth recognized their gender as different from their designated sex at birth, on average at an age approximately 4 years younger than GHA cohort youth, and were able to access gender-affirming medical treatment earlier in development. It is possible that early access to medical treatment, which prevents an unwanted puberty in GnRHA cohort, alleviates psychological distress and accounts for the better picture of mental health and well-being in the GnRHA cohort compared with the GHA cohort. So they're acknowledging that, hey, the GnRHA cohort, before even beginning this, had a better mental health outcomes, and that might be because they were able to access treatment a lot earlier. In addition, it may be that access to GnRHA treatment for the prevention of endogenous pubertal changes is a proxy for parental support, a factor that is well known to be protective. It is also possible that differences in mental health functioning between the 2 cohorts reflect the older average age of onset for depression and anxiety more broadly. In general, mental health findings in the GAH cohort, hey, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, Gilly, cohort are consistent with the relatively high rates of depression and anxiety reported in previous studies. Whereas GnRHA cohort youth findings are consistent with those from other studies of younger transgender youth, where in the majority of cases, internalizing symptoms were close to average and below the clinically significant range. From what I'm reading, this is not saying what either Bill Maher or the articles are saying about this at all. Yeah, I need to add this to a bookmark. I need to make a new list for bookmarks, TBH. Let's make a folder for bookmarks. I made so many just now. And let's call it studies, just so that I can save studies into here. This doesn't seem to be saying what either Bill, well, no, let me rephrase. This doesn't seem to be saying anything that we don't already know. You should probably print a PDF. Oh, that's a good idea. How do you do that? I just hit print. I don't have a printer. Yes, I do, apparently. Save as PDF. I don't know how to work a computer. I could be reading the study. Listen, I could absolutely be reading the study wrong, but it doesn't seem like it. Okay, hold on. Save as PDF. Save. Oh, but then that, I don't want to save this. I don't want to do that. And it even says here, disproportionate suicidality in teen adolescents may reflect high rates of discrimination, rejection, and non-affirmation experience inside or outside the home. Like, oh my God. Remember when the Sweden study came out? And it said specifically, hey, while it appears that gender-affirming healthcare does help, it needs to be coupled with proper mental health stuff as well. Because you can't just like instantly get rid of comorbidities. Wouldn't it be download PDF? Oh shit. Shit, son. Okay, I guess back to the fucking Bill Maher video of him saying dumb shit.
Yes, it's the right thing. But to take that risk at that age before you know shit about anything, yes, sometimes it's pretty obvious that this should, it's a very hard call to make. And again, this was a very long study, very thorough, and they wouldn't release it because it came out with the wrong conclusion.
But the reason because it is.
Hey guys, they released the study, by the way. It's right here. I just want to throw that out there. It's right here. They released it.
a hard question because
Right.
it is a serious question.
Right.
It is a personal question. I don't want Donald Trump deciding. I want parents and doctors.
One of the
You
things,
just said
you know what I
parent-
also want to, you know what I also want to talk about? You know what I also want to talk about? He said it's a very dangerous thing to let children go through this, okay? To let children go through this before they are old enough to say boo, whatever his statement was. But why don't we ever look at that from the reverse angle? Why don't we ever say, like, hey, a trans kid who goes through the puberty of their birth sex, that might be dangerous for them, because it is, and it can be, but they never care about that.
Parents can get shut out.
Well, I don't think parents should get shut out. There are rare exceptions to that. Look, we all believe that parents should have the decision.
Let me ask you a question, Bill Maher, because I know you're watching this, obviously, because, you know, let's say I have a school with a policy, and that policy is the minute we find out a kid is trans, we have to tell their parents. But their parents are anti-trans, abusive parents who will beat the shit out of their kids. Should we tell them? Should we pick up the phone, click, clink, 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 clink? Hey, your kid's trans, ba-boom. Is that what you want? And now I know what you're going to say, Bill Maher. Well, obviously, if we know the parents are abusive, we shouldn't tell them. Now here's my next question. How do we know which parents are abusive and which aren't? Or, and hey, this might be a crazy idea, should we let children come out of the closet to their parents when they're ready? Crazy idea. I know. Absolute insanity. But maybe, just maybe, we let people come out on their own terms. Can you explain how a trans person going through the wrong puberty is dangerous for them? Well, yeah, because if it increases gender dysphoria, it can also increase the stress felt by gender dysphoria. It can increase body issues. It can increase depression. It can increase anxiety because it increases the gender dysphoria. It can also lead to more misgendering out in public, which can further that as well.
Over their children, but we also recognize that some parents do such a bad fucking job that the kids are in danger. That happens outside of trans issues. That happens all the time. It's terrible. Some parents are fucking terrible. Somehow the fact that there are terrible parents in the world gets erased on these questions. Do I think that schools should, as a baseline, be keeping a secret from parents? Of fucking course not. No one thinks that. Well, no one thinks that.
Apparently that's not true. People do think that. And there is no perfect answer to this. It's as many naughty questions, the least bad answer.
And the least bad answer is to not have the government decide from above. It's just to leave it up to people and parents and the kids and the doctors. Right? You want the government to ban gender-affirming care for kids?
You want to lose every election? Just keep coming down on the side of parents coming in second in a who gets to decide what goes on with my kid contest.
First of all, I'm not talking about winning or losing elections. I agree with all that, but I'm just talking about the issue itself. What did that card say?
Can I take this one?
Huh? Please, can we stop pretending Bill Maher's an intellectual?
Home as a souvenir.
I'm
going to put it in my scrapbook.
Let me see if I hit all my points that I wanted to make about this.
Okay. Boy, like they don't even see. Couldn't they have started?
Notice how the minute he started losing the conversation, the debate, he instantly pivoted to looking at something else and talking about something else. He does it on his show. The minute a guest starts beating him, he'll just start making jokes. Anyway, Bill Maher's a hack. Watch Jon Stewart instead. And John Oliver. Maybe? I don't know. I don't watch Bill Maher. Anyway.